My name's Harriet Roden. I'm a web content developer for the digital learning team at the British Library. My project was titled Improving Efficiencies in Content Development Through Batch Processing and the Automation of Workloads. With the purpose to support and enrich the curriculum, the British Library's digital learning team produces large-scale content packages for online learners through individual siloed projects. Due to our reliance on other internal teams within the workflow of content delivery, a substantial amount of our resources spent on routine tasks to duplicate content metadata and collection metadata across various databases. So in order to reduce inefficiencies, increase productivity and improve reliability, my project aimed to alleviate pressures across the workflow through workload automation in 4 separate phases.
My name is Elizabeth Nowitzki and I'm a Collections Knowledge Officer at the National Archives. My project title was Enhancing the Data in the Manorial Documents Register and Making it More Accessible. In summary, the project aimed to convert the additional information generated as part of the Manorial Document Register's county computerization projects into a format which could be uploaded into the Manorial Documents Register and thus providing more access to manorial records and improving searching capabilities.
Hi, my name is Callum. I'm a curator of contemporary literary archives and manuscripts at the British Library. My project was titled An Integrated Metadata Solution for Personal Digital Archives at the British Library. And what it aimed to do was automate the workflow around this complex material. So think writers, hard drives, email accounts, old floppy disks and things like that, to make it easier to catalogue these huge collections and then to create interesting visualizations out of that automatically catalogued metadata.
Hello everyone, my name is Giulia Carla Rossi and I work at the British Library as curator for digital publications. The project I chose to undertake for the postgraduate certificate course is called the British Library Building a Poetry Printing Machine with Python. I used the British Library digitized printed books from the 18th and 19th century collection of datasets, which includes over 60,000 digitized volumes available under public domain mark on the data.bl.uk website. Using Python, I searched through the dataset to identify poetry books based on the presence of key terms related to poetry in their titles. And I found 4,580 books containing some form of poetry and then proceeded to restructure them to make the task of extracting individual poems easier. I focused on a couple of books of sonnets to test my project and wrote code in Python to count syllables, both in English and Italian, and to add line breaks at the end of each verse so that shapes of the poems from my dataset could mirror the shape they originally had in print. I'm now in the process of building a standalone printer that will be programmed using Python as well to print random poems from my dataset at the push of a button. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Graham Jevon, cataloguer for the Endangered Archives programme at the British Library. But really, I want you to meet Reg, the newest member of the EAP team. Now, Reg uses Python to create structured references for archival catalogues, a task that was previously performed by Excel. And I think the easiest way for me to show you what Reg does is to initiate a race.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Excel takes an early lead with one reference already entered. Meanwhile, Reg has started by entering the project number, which applies to the whole collection. Now the file name of the catalogue data is being entered, and that's it. It's all over. In 10 seconds, Excel managed to enter 3.5 references. And if we take a look at the spreadsheet created by Reg, we can see that it managed to generate all 2,648 catalogue references in those same 10 seconds. And that is the general gist of the programme. Simple, I hope, on the surface, somewhat more complex underneath. It performs a task that is otherwise time-consuming and error-prone. Reg also performs some data validation and data cleaning tasks. It will spot errors and give users options to fix them, but I don't have time to illustrate those here. Reg also comes with a simple configuration file so that different departments and institutions can also set Reg up for their own needs. Because while Reg is already in daily use by EAP, it was also designed with other departments and institutions in mind, and it is available for download via GitHub for anyone to use. Thank you.
My name is Jamie McRoberts, and I'm the Arts and Humanities Reference Manager for the British Library. The title of my project is Analysis of Peak Customer Interactions with Reference Staff at the British Library, a software solution. In my department, we record our interactions with customers on spreadsheets, with data spanning back over a decade. However, despite years of data being available, we've never been in a position to analyze this data for trends, such as identifying peaks of customer demand during certain hours of the day, days of the week, or weeks of the year. This was owing to a lack of data analytics skills within the team. I've been able to learn these skills through the Computing for Cultural Heritage course and apply them to analyze the data available from our statistical spreadsheets. Through my project, I was able to identify areas of peak demand across the service, including our busiest times of day and days of the week. This can help us deploy staff at these critical times. I'm also now in a position to be able to monitor trends over time, and this could lead to changes to our service structure in the future. The project also identified some anomalies with data recording, where statistics were being captured at times where reading rooms were shut, and this has enabled us to identify issues around staff training.
My name is Nick Dykes. I'm Curator of Modern Map Collections at the British Library, and my project was to develop an automated text extraction tool for use on digitised maps. The idea came to me when I was working with an archive held at the library of colonial-era maps of East Africa, which were originally collected by the British War Office. The maps show the historical names of settlements, regions, and ethnic groups, and provide details of historical land use and types and limits of vegetation. So I thought how useful it would be to extract this text and make it searchable and accessible to researchers. I noticed that Google provides a service called Google Vision API. So I developed a software tool that uploads batches of images to the API and then teases out of the response the words found, the shelf mark of the image on which each word is found, and the location of the word within each image, and then presents the results in a single spreadsheet, which after cleaning holds around 318,000 pieces of extracted text. The spreadsheet works in combination with the Google Maps page where the digital maps have been geolocated so that researchers can see each word as it appears on the face of the map. And finally, the spreadsheet resource has been made available for download from the library's shared research repository.
Hi, my name is Jessica Green, and I was project analyst in the Heritage Made Digital team at the British Library. The project I worked on in the course I called the Pre-Ingest Metadata Management System. It was a prototype for a SQLite database to help manage the analysis and ongoing assessment of legacy digitized content at the British Library in preparation for ingesting it into a new digital asset management and preservation system.
Hi, my name is Alex Haley, and I'm a curator of modern archives and manuscripts at the British Library. My project was titled Computational Approaches to Working with Legacy Archival Catalogues. Working with legacy metadata for the India Office records, I used Python to transform East India Company correspondence indexes into catalogue entries, and also produced a Jupyter notebook to explore the derived dataset. I also worked on enhancing catalogue records for around 45,000 volumes of government proceedings, using keyword extraction to identify places and departments mentioned in the old entries. I then developed a SQL database to test the search and filtering options presented by these newly identified entry points. The underlying data will form the basis of place and subject authority files for the records to be imported to the library's archive catalogue.
I'm Alex Green, and I'm the service owner for digital preservation at the National Archives. The title of my project was Reconstituting a Deconstructed Dataset Using Python 3 and SQLite. For my project, I wanted to make it easier to use a particular collection of datasets that we hold at the National Archives, which is underused because of its format and complexity. The records were transferred by government departments in the 1990s and converted into CSV files when they were received, as this was the best way to preserve them at the time. This format is excellent for preservation, but does make the data difficult to use, as originally it would have been stored in a database which could be queried to learn what the data could tell us. I wanted to find a way to reconstitute the separate CSV files that the data was now in as a SQL database, so that it could once again be queried and used by researchers. And I wanted to do this in such a way that the code could be used to recreate many, if not all, of the other 64 databases converted to this format. I focused on just one data set, a relatively small set of data gathered in between 1989 and 1990. This data held the results of a survey of residents in Humberside and Selby about changes to the county boundaries. During this project, I put into practice everything I had learned on the course, plus some practicalities around making sure that you understand your data thoroughly before getting started. It really brought home to me the importance of taking a methodical approach and keeping detailed notes, which I use to document the code so it can be reused. I thoroughly enjoyed the course and would recommend it to anyone who is interested in becoming more technically minded, more able to code. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Lucia Caborsi. When I started this course, my role was Audio Project Cataloger, and the title of my final work is a software tool to support the social media activities of the Unlocking Our Sound Heritage project. The idea is very simple. When I used to work as a cataloger, I would often come across anniversaries, which could be birth dates or death dates, anniversary of performers, or anniversaries of recording date of the performance I was cataloging, or of the radio broadcast, or of an interview I was cataloging. So I thought, why not to have a software tool which can flag those anniversaries for us, so that the social media team can either plan in advance what to tweet about, or simply can be inspired on the day to tweet about any of the content within our catalog. So I'll share a couple of screens to show you the output of my script. So basically, the starting point was a simple spreadsheet listing the recording date, the title, the duration, and the output was the same spreadsheet with the addition of 2 extra columns showing how many days were left to the anniversaries and how many years had elapsed. So in this case, we know that there are 22 days left to the anniversary of this recording date, and it will be the 40th anniversary. The same for the script about birth date and death dates. This was a slightly different script. Basically, I also added a way to scrape DBpedia, and this is because, as you can see here, the birth and death date of performers within the sound and moving image catalog are expressed in years only, so we don't have the specific year and month. But if you query DBpedia, you might get a lot of those. So once I added the small script within the main script, I also had flagged the anniversary of the birth and death dates of performers. This script could be run either at the start of the year, whenever you like, or every day. If you run it every day and on the day there is an anniversary, you could also get an email notification telling you what kind of anniversary it is, the title, the curatorial area, the name of the performer or the speaker, and the number of years which have passed. The same for the recording date anniversary, you would get the same metadata. There was also a third script within my final work, and it was about scraping hashtags used on Twitter by friends or followers of the UWash Twitter account. The idea behind it is to create a list of hashtags used over the year, because we may not be aware of all anniversary or important hashtags. And it was about, again, informing the social media team about potential popular hashtags so that we could adopt them in the following years. As you can see, the output again is a simple spreadsheet with the Twitter username, the date of the tweet, the content, the number of likes, the number of retweets, and the list of hashtags used. That's all really. A software tool to support the activities of social media teams. That's all. Thank you. Bye.